Hello and welcome to Crafty Concepts with Erin. Today I'm going to create a layout using this Sweet Girl paper pack, but I'm not going to do a Sweet Girl layout. Here is the deluxe kit that I purchased, and as you know, it comes with the blueprints and cutting guides to create these pre-designed layouts, but I'm going to do something a little bit different today. It also comes with this summer memories stamp that has some great sentiments on there that I know I'll get a lot of use out of. There's some twine and the little clear sparkles. We also have several of the 3x3 flip flaps, which are a lot of fun to use, and these pre-cut photo place card holders. So at first glance, this kit is perfect for a little Sweet Girl layout, but I am going to do something totally different with it and create a more boy inspired fishing page. So I'll show you a little bit closer look at the different papers in here. This one is so cute with these little flies on there. It'll be perfect for my fishing page. And there's this green, and on the other side is a floral. This one's sort of a gray scalloped pattern and some soft polka dots on the back. And then here is, I already kind of showed you these. There's the pink, kind of subtle little pattern there, and then this wood grain with the frame around it. We have a gray plaid. It does have a little bit of the ballerina in there, a tiny stripe, but you really don't notice it. And then we have tons of cardstock. There's the white daisy, sapphire, ballerina, clover, the mint, and mink, or heather rather. So as I mentioned, I'm going to do a fishing layout. Here are some pictures taken several years ago of my two boys and their friend Ruby, and we're out on Ruby's ranch fishing in their pond. And I just love these pictures. So what I've done is pull out the more masculine colors in the pack, and I know these flies, like I said, are going to be perfect for fishing. So we're focusing on the grays and the blues and plaids and the green, and I'm going to cut out the center of this wood grain paper and just save the frame for another project. So I'll go ahead and speed this up and we can put this together. So I just used my paper trimmer to cut out the center here. And I like the wood grain. It just adds a little bit of texture and interest to any layout. I use wood grain paper quite a bit. So I'm just kind of playing with the photos and seeing what layout I like the best and auditioning different pattern papers here. So I really like this plaid because I feel like it just kind of accents my son's plaid shirt he's wearing. So I'm going to cut this down and just do like a 5-inch strip on the side here. And then I know I want to use this Summer Memories for my title right there, so I need to make sure that I leave room for that to stamp right on the wood pattern paper. So I'm going to bring in this fly paper here and just kind of layer up. This is my main photo, so this one's going to get a little bit more attention just to help draw your eye to this one, which you kind of naturally do because it's a larger photo anyway. I did already print these out with the white border, but you could easily repeat that look with white daisy cardstock. So here, this one has little dots and kind of little plus sign on it there. So I'm just going to cut this into a banner shape coming in from the side of the photo. And I apologize. It's early in the morning and my hair's pulled back in a crazy messy bun. I'll have to be mindful. My husband's quite a bit taller than I, and I'll know that's what he sees every day. So as you can see, that little summer stamp is going to fit perfectly right up top there. So here I'm just measuring kind of halfway, and this is how I quickly dovetail my papers. And you just cut up from the center, and then when you work in from each corner, it usually comes out fairly perfect, close enough that nobody's going to notice if it's off a smidge or two. So we'll just tuck that in there. I'm a little bit bothered how that gray fly photo mat is kind of disappearing. It's not standing out very well. So I'm going to address that soon here. This is a brand new stamp, so I'm just going to practice with it a few times. And this is a retired ink in outdoor denim, but the sapphire is very similar, so that is what you would use to repeat this look. So I'm tucking this foam insert behind my paper to make sure I get a nice crisp stamping image. And we'll ink the stamp up and just put it in our spot there. Press down and perfect! How fast was that? I love stamping titles. And we're going to add this memories phrase underneath there for summer memories. And I'm stamping it in the New England Ivy, just to add a little bit of interest with two contrasting colors there. And I'm going to stamp this one. I could stamp it right on the page, but I thought it would add some detail to stamp it on white daisy and then trim it out. And then I'm going to use some foam dots to pop this up. So it's just more visually interesting. You know, you have the extra layers here and different color schemes going on, and with the white background, that memories sentiment stands out very nicely. So like I was saying, I'm bothered that that just kind of disappears. So I'm going to just put a layer of the sapphire cardstock right behind there, and I think that will just add the definition that it needs to give it more of a contrast so it's not fading into the plaid paper behind it. You could also achieve this look just by inking the edges, but since I have the cardstock, I'm just going to go ahead and use that. And yes, that made a big difference, and I like it a lot better. So here I'm just using that dimensional foam to pop this up like I mentioned earlier. I go through quite a bit of this stuff. Sometimes I use sheets of adhesive back craft foam for the larger objects, but this little roll works great for smaller embellishments like this. So I want to incorporate more of these stamped images, and so I have a few of the banner stamps here. There's a sun and a moon and a star. I didn't really want the moon, so I'm just going to do a repeating pattern with the star and the sun. And I'm going to do like a first generation ink and then also stamp it again a second generation. So we're using the same color, but we're getting varied shades of it, so we can incorporate that into the little banner. This was an idea that came from the pre-designed layout, so I'm just kind of tweaking it a bit to make it fit my layout. So again, we're just going to do the second generation stamp, and then I'll cut these out with my micro tip scissors there. Adding banners to any page or card is just a fun way to add a lot of character to the page. And you can just really, I like the stamps because you can change your color palette depending on what your project is and really make this work for so many different looks. So I like the way that looks there. And we have this cut apart sheet, and you can use the other side if you don't want to use any of those, but I have trimmed out this star, but it's looking a little bit like a starfish to me, and I'm not sure I want to use it. So there's this little fly that kind of goes along with that paper, and then we have this journaling block I'm going to use there. And here's a few strips that came from the summer zip strips, and some came from the cut apart sheet. So using my thin cut stitch circles, I'm going to punch out a quick white piece of, or a white circle, and then use this embellishment from the stamp or stamped image to make an embellishment here. I love my thin cuts. I kind of held out for a long time because I have a Cricut, and I thought, no, I don't need that. It's just another thing to collect, but it's just so fast and so simple, and I find I use it more than my Cricut nowadays. So yes, I'm collecting thin cuts. Okay, so back to my little embellishment I'm going to create here. We're just going to get this inked up and primed and stamp it a few times. It's looking good. So we'll put it right on my stitched circle, and it says sunshine and blue skies. And I like the way I have a lot of right angles going on in this, so I like the circle shape that kind of breaks that up, and the swoopiness of the banner also helps break up those hard lines. This journaling block has a little bit of pink on the edge, so I don't need that. I could have hid it behind my photo, but maybe I'll use it on another project, so I just cut that off there. And using my tape runner, I'm just going to get these tacked into place. And then I just kind of angle the end there, like little, how a ribbon may look. And then we'll use dimensional foam to pop this up. I always save my scrap cardstock, especially the white, because it's perfect for little embellishments and stamped images like this. So I have a little pile set off to the side, always ready to grab. Never throw cardstock away. You can always use it on, cards or, projects of that nature. So I'll just blot off my stamp, and I'll set that aside to clean it a little bit. So we're almost complete. We're just going to add a few finishing touches here. I'm going to use the twine that came with the kit, and I've just tied a little bow here on each end, and we'll trim that off to fit. So it kind of looks like those little flags are hanging from the banner. And I have the liquid glass. I've had this bottle around for a long time, and surprisingly it hasn't hardened up. It's still good, and it's a really strong adhesive. So they have a new fine tip applicator as well that you can buy separately and use for your projects. So we're just getting this tucked down into place there. I'm going to glue the little tail. I always glue the tails because when you slide them into the page protectors, they get a little bit wonky on you. So I'm just looking over my stamp to see if there's any other elements I want to incorporate, and there's this word "this," and I thought, oh, that will be a good journaling prompt. So I'm going to just stamp this on the top left corner of my, or it says today, sorry, top left corner of my journaling block, just to kind of start my journaling. And I really dislike my handwriting, but I wrote my little chicken scratch on there anyway. They say that, when your kids look back, it's nice to have mom's handwriting. So I always tell myself that when I'm unhappy with it. But here what I'm doing is just adding a couple little nest of tangled thread in blue and green. They match the layout so perfectly, and it just adds a quick pop of color and some texture. And the kids were so young, so I did a lot of untangling of the fishing line, more so than they actually spent fishing. So this tangled thread just kind of helps me to remember that. It was just fun looking back on it now. It was kind of a nuisance in the moment, but now the kids, of course, can fish, and they're really good at it, and they don't need me. They're tying their own flies and tying on their own lures, and so this was just kind of a fun memory. And I am going to put some in the upper right corner as well, just to kind of balance that out. And I am going to bring in a few. I have some fishing stamps, like real outdoorsy stamps that are retired, but I wanted to incorporate them into this page just because they help tell the story. We're a real outdoorsy family, and so whenever we have camping stamps or nature themed stamps, I tend to jump on those quickly because I know I'm going to get a lot of mileage out of them. So here's that fun fishing stamp from several years ago, and I'm still using it. So I have the fly I stamped and cut out there, and then the little bass fish. And I am going to use that star after all. It works down here in the corner, looks less like a starfish. And then I'll pop up my little fish guy. And then this fly, we're just going to nestle it right into the tangled thread. And I thought, oh, that's perfect, because it just helps to reinforce that whole tangled fishing line memory. So I just want to encourage you guys, when you browse through the catalog and you see these paper packs, you may think, oh, I don't have any need for that. That's not going to suit me. But just look, you got to train your eye to look beyond what you see and find a way to make the paper pack work for you. Because I really like this layout. And if I just kind of focused on the more feminine, sweet girl embellishments, I probably would have just passed right on by. So here are a few still shots, and I encourage you to hop on over to my blog at craftyconceptswitherin.com so you can see more pictures and get more information there. And if you like this product and want to add this to your stash, I would encourage you to do so and not wait. It's only available through the month of August, and I'll leave a link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit like and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. And we'll see